What is up, everybody? Olivia Moody here. We are back with another episode of Pass the Spread. I've got some guests joining me today. Bookit's very own Jeff Parles and the one and only Mikey O'Ver. I'm not sure how he snuck into another episode of Pass the Spread, but he is here and we are excited to have him.
Back at it again.
Back at it again, Mikey O'Ver. Let's talk a little bit of NBA. We've got some games happening tonight. What plays do you like tonight, Jeff? Let's start with you.
We'll go player prop. I know, obviously, Olivia, you're big into the player props. Same deal with our buddy Mikey O'Ver here. I'm going to go with the Hornet game tonight. We're going to go Devontae Graham under 14.5 points. These numbers on Devontae Graham haven't fully adjusted to what they probably should be this year. Graham obviously had a breakout year last year, averaged over 18 a game. So far this year, his usage is down. His point per game total down to 11.5. He's only gone over 14.5 three times out of 10 plus games already for Charlotte. So I'm going to go under 14.5 on Devontae Graham's point total for tonight.
I've got to say, Jeff, taking the under is a risky move. I hate taking the under. You're sitting on pins and needles. You're hoping they don't perform well, and it's a nerve-wracking situation. But it sounds like you've got a method to your madness, and you've got some facts to back it up. So I think you're in good shape.
Olivia, betting against human achievement on unders. That's what we do here.
There we go. I love it. Mikey O'Ver, what do you like tonight? What is your NBA play tonight?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, as a new Hornets fan, I'd like to say, Jeff, if there's one player that I was giving a hot take on last night, it's Devontae Graham. And I think he might be the worst player on the Hornets roster. I mean, I've never seen a guy think that he's Stephen Curry more in my life than Devontae Graham when he's just throwing it up from anywhere and missing. But I think I got to go against my team tonight, and I really like the Raptors against the Hornets. I don't know if Gordon Hayward is going to be active. He left the game early with some sort of hip strain last night in the third quarter, so I kind of like the Raptors starting a streak going here and getting their third win against the Hornets tonight.
I like it. Okay. My play that I like tonight is Miami plus 10.5. This is a little rematch between Miami and the Sixers here. Miami lost by only 3 in OT last game. Joel Embiid is questionable for tonight's game. I think I read it was a back injury, and he accounted for 45 points scored against Miami on Tuesday. So if he is not playing, I'm loving Miami. Even if he is playing, I'm sure his time will be limited. So I still like Miami to cover here. Give me Miami to cover the spread at plus 10.5. And I may feel a little silly, Mikey O'Ver, and throw a little bit on the money line here. I know.
Oh,
I know.
Cue the air horn. Cue the air horn.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely a good time.
I need the air horn.
Yeah, so I might feel silly with the Miami money line, but for sure, I like Miami to cover at plus 10.5. So that's what we like tonight in NBA. Let's move on to this little Bookit playoff challenge we've got going on. Not to toot my own horn, I am actually at plus 150, first place right now, sitting pretty at first place. I started at plus 300. Mike is now plus 225, the comeback king. He started at plus 1,000. And Jeff now at plus 700.
Say it louder.
And Jeff now at plus 700 started at plus 575 per intern Chuck on Bookit Sports. If you're not following intern Chuck for updates, what are you doing? Get to the Bookit Sports app ASAP and give intern Chuck a follow because he's giving you all things updates on this playoff challenge. But we're heading into another weekend of playoffs, which means these numbers could drastically change. What are you guys thinking for the weekend? What's the strategy? Mikey O'Ver, let's start with you. You've got some, are you working with teasers here, parlays? Where are you sprinkling your money?
Yeah, no, firstly, that plus 1,000 felt disrespectful to start, and I'm happy that I was able to put it on the line, and I'm now at a nice plus 225, so I like my odds there. And, Liv, just being honest with you, I'm just going to play it smart. I love a good teaser. I love maybe a parlay. I don't know, though. I might try to play it smart because I think a lot of people that are at the back end of the leaderboard are going to really try to get a leg up by doing some big parlays. So I might just play myself smart with a couple teasers here and there and just keep myself in the game.
I like it. Trent with these max whale plays, putting all $20. For those of you that don't know, we get $20 a day to bet on playoffs. And Trent's been throwing $20 on one bet. It worked for him the first time. It didn't work for him the second time. So, Jeff, are you learning from his mistakes? How are you dealing with this $20 that we get a day? What are you liking for this weekend in terms of your strategy?
Yeah, I'm not going to come on here and destroy the format and say that touchdown props and all that fun stuff should count. But I would say the standings would be looking a little bit differently for myself and even Mikey O'Ver Mikey O'Ver probably be in the lead actually right now.
If you gave me player props, Jeff, I'd be a weapon in this conversation.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, here's what I'll say with this. I'm gonna. My strategy last week, I split my bets up. I had 2 bets on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Sunday, I went all in on the Titans. That failed. Saturday, I split my bets on the Buffalo game. I had Bills -6.5, and then I took an in-game over, which ended up coming in pretty handily. So, look, I'm just going to look for opportunities. I'll probably won't play it any differently. If there's one thing I really like, we'll load up on that. If there's a few things I like, I'll just split it up. It just depends on the feel more than anything, Olivia. Just also, too, trying to keep a little bit of money for in-game scenarios as well.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that because I didn't even think about the in-game thing. And I kind of wish now that I would have saved that last $5 that I had on an in-game bet. Instead, I went risky and I did Titans money line in a parlay with the Browns money line, which zeroed out on that one because Titans didn't pull through. But yeah, saving stuff for in-game might be something that I consider going into this weekend for sure. But I think it's all about spending wisely. That's my motto right now, spending wisely. Kind of keeping on with that football trend as we head into the weekend. Most questionable spread for divisional round. Jeff, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, I don't think anything's overly questionable here. I would say this. It's very surprising to me to see KC all the way up at 10 against Cleveland, just with the way that the Browns played last week. I expected a little bit of movement to get that into single digits, and it may get to single digits. But look, KC is the best team left in the field. The Browns, I think, match up pretty well with Kansas City. So I was surprised to see a 10, especially when Kansas City was only 12 against Atlanta just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you might be hinting onto a question that I've got later for you about that Browns game. Mikey, any questionable spreads for this weekend for you?
Yeah, I was looking at the lines, and I really feel like New Orleans -3 against the Bucs is a little surprising to me. I feel like no one has the offensive weapons that Tom Brady has, and I think that -3, I would definitely take the Bucs at +3. I just feel like that's a surprising spread to me. I know New Orleans is looking strong, Drew Brees is looking tough, but I just feel like those offensive weapons in Tampa Bay are just too much.
Yeah, you might be hinting at something there as well for some matchups we might talk about a little bit later. Most likely dog to win outright. I know for me personally, there were some dogs that I didn't really agree with being dogs in these matchups. Mikey, let's start with you. Most likely dog to win outright.
Most likely dog to win outright. I really feel like if you believe in miracles and, being from the country of America, I happen to love a good miracle. And I'm feeling the Rams. I love that defense. I love Jalen Ramsey. He goes on the field every day and he says, give me your best. I'm going to lock him up. And I feel like that Rams defense, if Jared Goff plays well, I feel like the Rams might do it.
I had a Twitter follower that responded to me and said, once you use the word lock, you've now totally screwed your bet. If that's the case for you, your record would be absolute garbage because I'm pretty sure after every bet you place, what's your motto? What's your go-to thing? It's
lock it up.
Lock it up. So hopefully that Twitter fan is wrong because man, they said once you say lock, it's over with. So I'm rooting for you in this one. Hopefully you didn't just ruin your chances there. Jeff, most likely dog to win outright for you.
So again, I'll go with a little bit of a shorter underdog here. I like Baltimore as the most likely underdog to win. I just think they match up pretty well with Buffalo. The weather is going to be an impact there in Western New York. It's going to be not going to be as cold as we expected, but it's going to be windy, nearly 20-mile-an-hour winds. I think the run first attack of Baltimore gives them a really darn good shot to win the game. And if we're talking about the bigger dogs like Mikey O'Ver just did with the Rams, I think Cleveland has a better shot than LA. That's all I'll say on that.
Mikey O'Ver.
That's a
Jeff
hot
just
take.
roasted you.
That's a
I'm
hot
actually
take.
with
That's a hot
Jeff on this
take.
one. I like the Ravens. I really do. If we're talking dogs here, I like the Ravens for sure. But I love that Jeff just kind of jabbed at Mikey a little bit. That was fantastic.
Oh, no jab, just no
Oh,
jab.
no, let's jab
No
it up.
jab, that's just the praise of our buddy Jason's team. That's all that is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Jason's probably getting excited right now. Let's talk book it or cook it. We kind of do this every week, and I love it. I think it's super fun. Book it or cook it. Let's start with Rams hold Packers to under 27.5 points. Packers are under 27 4 times this season. Rams only given up more than 27 3 times. So, Jeff, book it or cook it.
Olivia, you know how you get in the kitchen and basically you're cooking something you've never tried to cook before, so you proceed with caution. So I'm going to go with cook it with caution here on this because, look, the Rams defense to me is the best defense in the NFL. But Aaron Rodgers and company have been so on fire the last 2 months and the last 2 games. Look, they didn't have much effort against Chicago, at least in the second half, and still scored over 30. They pummeled the Tennessee Titans the week before that. They are very difficult to slow down, even for an elite defense like the Rams. So I'm going to cook it with caution only because I really like that Ram defense. But the Packers offense is rolling so much, and I have a feeling Mikey's gonna be disagreeing with me here.
I was just gonna say you were, all that Rams talk earlier. I have a feeling I know exactly what Mikey O'Ver is leaning towards. Mikey O'Ver, are you booking it or cooking it? And you can only shout your response with confidence. 3, 2, 1.
I mean, the only way I do a response is with confidence, and here I'm gonna steal from a very famous hip hop group, the Migos, and I'm just gonna whip, cook it in the kitchen, absolutely cooking and bucketing the Rams. Roll the Rams. I'm booking it.
I love it. I love it.
Mike, you almost confused me there for a second. You wanted to say cook it, but you couldn't bring yourself to it. It's okay.
Listen, I was close, but I'm gonna book it.
I was gonna say I kind of heard both answers there. That was
a lack of confidence. Book it, but hey, that's okay.
So too, Mikey O'Ver, that was not confident at all. Let's move on to the next one, and hopefully you give me a little more confidence. Lamar Jackson rushes for over 100 yards. He has done it 3 times this season. Mikey, book it or cook it.
This is very, very weather dependent for me. I might just book this one too, though, because I feel like Lamar Jackson, as you like to say, Liv, he's just that dude. He's just that dude. And I feel like second round of the playoffs, he might just do it and might just be that dude again. I'm going to book it.
I love it. And he is just that dude. He really is. Every time I watch him, I'm like, he's just that dude. Every time. Jeff, book it or cook it on this one with Lamar Jackson.
I think Lamar Jackson is going to have a great game, but it's just really hard for a quarterback to get to 100 yards, even though he has done it multiple times this year, and he was dominant with his legs last week against Tennessee. So I'm going to cook it. We're going to cook it with caution again. Cook it with caution again. I will say this. His rush total at DraftKings right now is at 78.5. I would definitely not bet the under on 78.5. That's all I'll say in that regard. So maybe you find a prop where you go under 100.5, go over 78.5, and go with a nice little middle there on Lamar rushing total.
There you go. That's called cooking it with caution. You go right in the middle. I love it. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb both score in the Kansas City game. They've done it 5 of the 13 games that they've played together. Jeff, let's start with you. Book it or cook it on this one.
I'm going to book it. I'm going to book this. And I'm very curious to see what our friends at FanDuel, once the same game parlay options pop up, what that number will produce for me. Because that should be around plus 300 at least. I don't think it's going to get there because of the way that the odds are going to tilt. But I like that. I'm going to book it. I think both of those guys score. They're their 2 best weapons. I know Jarvis Landry's had a great year, but Hunt and Chubb, they're the 2 best weapons. And I think Cleveland's going to have a shot to stay in the game. And in order for them to do that, they're both going to have to hit pay dirt. So I'm going to take the Bookit end on Chubb and Hunt scoring.
I smell a same game parlay, and I love it. Mikey O'Ver. What about you? Book it or cook it here?
This is a 4-course cooking for me. I don't see both of them getting over the
4
line in this
courses.
game.
Wow.
I just can't see it. I just can't see it. This is Gordon Ramsay level of cooking right here. I'm absolutely cooking this one. There's no way. I just don't see a way that this happens.
No raw scallops, hopefully, for Mikey.
To be honest with you, you had the most confidence with this Bookit or Cookit so far, and I honestly disagree with you, and I'm confused. I'm kind of confused on where this confidence is coming from on this play here.
Listen, this Chiefs defense, there's something about Tyrann Mathieu I just love, and I see them stuffing either one of them at the line. I don't see them letting both of these guys getting in the end zone. That's just my take. That's a Cookit. That's why I'm feeling confident.
Fair enough. And hey, your record's been pretty solid lately, so I may take you up. I may tail you on that one. Who knows?
Might just happen.
Last but not least, for Bookit or Cookit, Tom Brady throws plus 350 against the Saints defense. He's thrown this in 3 of the last 4 games. The one that he didn't was when he threw 348, so very close. What do you guys like here? Jeff, let's start with you. Bookit or Cookit?
Cook it all the way. This is going to be a well done job here by New Orleans' defense yet again. They've owned Tom Brady in the Bucs so far this year. Brady hasn't even eclipsed 260 yards in any of those 2 previous games. I don't expect much to change. New Orleans' secondary can handle those great weapons that Tampa has. I will cook it, and I will even cook it if you gave me 300 on that, Olivia. So I'll cook it for sure on that. And again, I think more than anything, New Orleans, their complete defense will be able to handle Brady. Cook it.
Mikey O'Ver, I thought you were going to grab some pots and pans as little props for this next question I'm about to ask you. Kind of scared to know why you left the screen there for a minute, but what about you? Bookit or Cookit on this one with Tom Brady?
Liv, I'll let you in on a secret of why I just got up. If the question was Bookit or Cookit, is Mike's laptop going to be fully charged for this segment? You would have had to absolutely cook that because we almost just died right there. So I had to go grab the charger. But Bookit or Cookit on Tom Brady.
I hope that your computer almost dying isn't a representation of your bets this weekend. That is hilarious.
Be nice.
All right, I'll let you finish.
You know what?
Sorry, I'll let you finish. Tom Brady, Bookit or Cookit, Mikey.
It's a good parable for how this competition has gone. I started out at plus 1,000 of this computer surviving the whole way, and by the end of the show, somehow I've ended up with a charging laptop. Somehow at the end of this competition, I've ended up in second place. But Bookit or Cookit, Tom Brady throwing. Listen, I think the Bucs are going to air it out often, and I think I'm going to book this one like a library. There's just too many books in there. It's an absolute Bookit for me. There's no defense in the NFL, I hate to say it, that can guard every single weapon he has on offense. You know, I mean, your third option is Chris Godwin. Your third option could be Antonio Brown. You got Rob Gronkowski as well. I just don't see them being able to hold them under 350. So that's a Bookit.
I mean, Brady does what Brady does. I mean, he is Tom Brady. So I might be tailing you. I don't know. The whole leaving the screen thing kind of sitting weird with me right now. So I might just play that one by ear. But
Liv loves to tell me my bets are gonna fail and then tell me the next question she's gonna tail me.
Hey, I'm just telling you how I feel right now. All right. Let's talk some of the matchups that we've got this weekend, and let's talk what's the play here. Rams at Packers -6.5.
Please let Mikey go first, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Packers are favored here by 6.5 up against the Rams, and I mean, Mikey, you've said quite a bit about the Rams so far, so I feel like it's only right that I start with you here, Mikey. What's the play? What do you like here?
Listen, as you guys mentioned in the first time we talked about the Rams, I wavered a little bit. I took the cooking and I thought, I was going to tie it in nicely with Little Migos, but then it came off as if I wasn't confident in the bet. But let's double down. I'm actually loving right now Rams money line.
Oh, there we go.
That is, I know that's aggressive. I'm getting some looks, but listen, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Jared Goff, I just love everything about it. And if I'm being honest with you guys, I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers crash out of the playoffs right now. I don't know why. I'm just feeling like I want to see that. And I'm going to bet with my heart. As always, Liv, I got to do it. Jeff, if you didn't know, I bet with the heart. I don't bet with the smarts. And that's probably why I was
that's not going to work a lot of times, Mikey. Not going to work a lot of times. I've learned that one the hard way.
It makes it fun. Rams money line, lock it up.
Okay, well, I was going to hop over to Jeff, but I'm going to interject and give my opinion really quick because what you said just absolutely made zero sense. Don't you ever bet against Aaron Rodgers. You just don't do it. Packers all day long. As Mikey O'Ver himself would say, lock it up. You do not bet against Aaron Rodgers. Are you out of your mind? He is so experienced with this. He's well-versed. He's a veteran at this. He knows what he's doing. I don't think the Rams stand a chance. I like Aaron Rodgers in this situation. Give me the Packers all night long. Jeff, are you riding with Mikey O'Ver or Liv Moods on this one? I would love to hear your
he's not riding with me, but
you can't be too certain on that, but you are right in this instance. I'm going to Liv Moods here. I'll lay with Green Bay. I'm just so concerned about Jared Goff playing in cold weather with a broken thumb. That is my whole hesitation here. We have seen Goff in cold weather at full health be terrible in cold weather games in the past. The one that stands out to me, even when the Rams made the Super Bowl 2 years back, Sunday night, Chicago, freezing temperatures. Jared Goff was horrible, and the Rams didn't score a touchdown against a good defense. Here's the thing, though. 6.5 is a lot of points, and the Rams' defense is good enough to slow down Aaron Rodgers and company. So I could see both sides. This isn't like other games where I think there's one true great side here. It's a lean to Green Bay laying the 6.5. But if Mikey O'Ver ends up beating the two of us, Liv, I wouldn't be shocked here.
I wouldn't be. I don't want to say I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be extremely disappointed. I would.
I think that's a very fair assessment.
I'd be really, really disappointed. Yeah, the broken thumb thing in the cold weather. I really didn't even think about that. But honestly, think about the injuries you have when the weather gets cold outside. Cold outside, you get achy and crap. I wouldn't doubt that's a huge factor in this game for sure. Next up, Ravens at Bills. Bills are favored here by -2.5. Let's start with Mikey O'Ver. I'll give you the talking stick first here. What do you like in this game?
Liv, when we were going through the rundown, I really liked the Bills, but after hearing Jeff kind of talk about the Ravens a little bit, I'm kind of going for the Ravens now. We talked about Lamar Jackson. I just think he's that dude. Marquise Brown played excellent in their last game. And I'm thinking that Josh Allen might not have the sauce against this Ravens defense. So I'm actually going to switch my original answer, and I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one. Spread or money line. I like them both.
Man, oh, man.
I love it, Jeff.
Man,
how do you feel about putting him over?
Oh, lack of conviction from Mikey O'Ver there. Man, wow. Wow, lack of conviction. I'm on Baltimore money line, guys. I just have a weird feeling on this one that Lamar Jackson, even though I don't think he's going to get to 100 rushing yards, his legs are going to be what causes a Baltimore win here. And I'm concerned about that crosswind. If it is a crosswind, 20-mile-an-hour winds, if it's a crosswind, it's a lot harder to pass in a crosswind than it is in a straight-up wind where at least one of those half of the game you're going to have the wind at your back and you're going to be able to take even more advantage of Josh Allen's strong arm. But this, I said it on the Parlay cast on Thursday. This feels like a referendum game for Lamar Jackson. Fair or not, his draft class buddy and Josh Allen has gotten all the spotlight this year after Lamar had the MVP last year and deserved that MVP easily. Baltimore was down most of the year. They were counted out after they lost Pittsburgh the week after the COVID outbreak. I think they're getting to the AFC Championship game. Give me Baltimore straight up. I'll take +120, +125, anything in that area code.
I love it. And I love that you brought up the wind. See, where would I be without Jeff? I'd be nowhere. I love that you brought up the wind because Lamar Jackson is just that guy. I've said it before. I'll say it again, and I'll say it tomorrow. He's just that guy, and he knows how to run the ball, and that may work to his favor with the wind in this game. I'm feeling a choke fest from the Bills. I don't know why, but my gut's telling me they're going to choke. They are going to choke in this game, and Lamar Jackson is just that guy. So I like the Ravens to win this one because, they've got Lamar Jackson. They've got the wind. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Bills will choke, and I think we'll see a win from the Ravens. So that's what I like. Moving on, Browns at Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 10 here. That is quite a big spread. 10's a lot of points, and we don't see many NFL teams cover a spread that big very often. So, Jeff, what's the play here in this game?
So the official one I'll give you is Browns +10 because I'm a little bit of a coward and don't want to throw anything on the money line. But here's how I think this game is going to end up going. in all likelihood. And it will completely contradict what I just said, but I really don't care. But this feels like a scenario that's kind of like the national championship game we saw on Monday, where I thought Chris Felica of College Game Day said this, and he got roasted on gambling Twitter, but he ended up being right. He thought it was going to be Bama rolls and covers the spread easily, or Ohio State wins the game outright. What happened? Alabama rolled. Obviously, roll tide. But in this game, I just have a weird sneaking suspicion that if this game is close, the Browns are playing with house money. They're not supposed to be there. They're the Cleveland Browns, for goodness sake. They're not supposed to be in the second round of the playoffs at any point. The Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions. They're supposed to be there. The pressure's all on them. If this game's close, and I will never recommend betting against Mahomes, I have a weird feeling Cleveland might win this thing if this thing's tight. So I wouldn't be shocked with a Kansas City vaporization and they win by 31. But if this thing's close and Cleveland covers that plus 10, I think they're going to have a chance to win the game late. So I'll take Cleveland plus 10.
Wow, hot take.
Very much so. Very much so. I know
Jason.
I know Jason might be either alarmed or happy by me. Like
Jason's backstage doing this right now.
Jason, from what I realized last time the Browns played, Jason is disconnected. I was waiting to see his reaction all over the Bookit news feed, and he was silent. I think he was actually silent until the next morning. And I think he just needed to take a minute to kind of do his thing and chill out. So I don't know if he'll give us much of an opinion on this game, because I think he's probably in that place of not wanting to jinx anything. And I don't blame him.
Liv, if you are a Browns fan for as long as Jason has been a lifelong Browns fan, I think there might have just been a state of shock of something good actually happening to that franchise. Being up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter against your most bitter rival. Wow, that'd be stunning in a good way for me if I were a Browns fan. Obviously.
Well, and being a Browns fan, just because you're up 28-0 doesn't mean much, because they can to play some messy football, and that game wasn't necessarily a lock for them until the game was over. So yeah, I can understand being a Browns fan. There's a little bit of anxiety that comes with that. Mikey, are you on the same page as Jeff here, or do you have something different in mind for this Browns-Chiefs game?
I'm going to have to disagree with Jeff. I took Browns money line last game. I was real confident with it. It smacked. It was a lock. But, I really, really like the Chiefs minus 10. I mean, this team is just looking so unstoppable to me right now. And I just feel like Pat Mahomes is going to be on another level playing against his Browns team, and I don't see them being able to stop him all day. So I'm going to go Chiefs minus 10 just for obvious reasons of the Mahomes show.
I like it. I kind of am with both of you, maybe kind of not really. Browns are playing some messy football towards the end of that Steelers game. The Chiefs offense is just too experienced. They're going to take advantage of every single mistake that the Browns make. And the Browns started to make some big ones towards the end of the game against the Steelers. I like the Chiefs to win here, but I do think the Browns can cover. I do think they've got that chip on their shoulder. They're the underdog. They're not supposed to be here. They're going to be playing with intensity and with their heart and with their passion, where the Chiefs, like Jeff mentioned, they're a team where the expectation's pretty high, and sometimes that can turn around and bite you in the butt. So I like the Chiefs to win here, but I think it'll be a close game, and I think the Browns cover the spread. So that's my take on that. We've got one more matchup to talk about. Bucks at Saints. Saints are favored here. -3. Tom Brady is the dog going into this game. What's the play here, Mikey O'Ver? What do you like for this one?
There's nothing I like better than Bucks +3 in this game, to be totally honest with you, Liv. I mean, Tom Brady, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. Whether you agree or disagree, he's the GOAT. And you give him 3 points +3, I'm taking that every day of the week. So, I mean, Antonio Brown to the crib, Godwin to the crib, Mike Evans to the crib. They're the crib you +3. Easy.
I love it. Jeff, are you riding with Mikey O'Ver, or are you fading him?
If Mikey O'Ver didn't have the lack of conviction on Buffalo, we would have disagreed on legitimately every single thing we talked about today, which means in all likelihood, we're going to probably be 50-50 and we're going to be right half the time. I like New Orleans. I just think it's a great matchup for them. We already saw it twice in the regular season. And I know there's always that angle, and that angle of, it's so difficult to beat the same team 3 times in the same NFL season, which it is. The numbers dictate that. But when the matchup for New Orleans is, they just match up, like I said before, defensively. They have the secondary to cover all those pieces, even though it will be difficult. I need to see if Ronald Jones is healthy. I'm not a big fan of Leonard Fournette, even though he had a reasonable game last week. And I think New Orleans is going to be able to turn Brady over. Breeze will play turnover-free football. New Orleans advances. I'll lay the 3 very happily, and I would lay it sooner rather than later because I think this thing's getting to 3.5, 4 by the time we kick. So if you like Mikey Over's position, be patient.
I like it. I'm kind of right. Scared to say this. I'm with Mikey Over on this one. Okay. I like Tom Brady upsetting the Saints in a very close game. So I am taking Bucks money line here. I've got faith in Tom Brady. I think he upsets the Saints in this one. I like money line here. So money line Bucks. Mikey Over, don't let me down. I swear to God, I will attack you if we lose. Okay?
I have to say, every time I hear Jeff explain his answer, it makes me a little nervous about my answer. But
Liv,
so
don't be nervous. Even the people that are really good at this are only right 53% of the time. So I mean, look, I'm just average at this thing. So I mean, there's more than Mikey. In all likelihood, what's the most likely scenario here is that you end up smoking me on on these picks this week, and I'm gonna have to come back with my tail between my legs, figuratively, not literally, because if I had a tail, that'd be scary. But look, I'd be in a scenario where I'm praising the Mikey Overs potentially after this week.
Oh, do not ever put praise and Mikey Over in the sentence. His head's going to blow up if you get so big. Dear God. Jeff, do not give him that satisfaction. Oh, my Lord. Please. Well, fellas, thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Past the Spread. Again, not sure how Mikey Over managed to get back in here another time, but it was great having you, Mikey Over, as always. Don't let me down this weekend. Jeff Parles, thanks so much for joining us, and we will